season's gonna be over in a couple of days. Up here trying to get something before season runs out. We need at least a couple more deer. But we'll see if we can make something happen this morning. Last part of the season.
So 2 days, well 3 days before deer season ends here in Arkansas, my husband got a deer. So we are going to document and record the whole process for skinning it out, quartering it, aging it, deboning it, cleaning it, cutting it up, grinding it, and stuffing it, and making specialty meats out of it. We do all the processing ourselves from farm to table. Okay.
Are you commentating this thing?
You commentate. That's a butt plug.
It's not a lit up one.
He's a funny guy. Jimbo.
Oh, come on now. Grab it.
This is a buck that's already lost his antlers because it's so late in the season. We were hoping to get one more deer so we could document the whole process from farm to table, basically. We eat a lot of venison. We make a lot of specialty things. This year, season has just been really weird for us. We've only gotten, between the two of us, we've only gotten 3 deer. So this is the 4th one, and we really needed this 4th one. And like I said, it's 3 days before season ends. We are in Zone 1, Northwest Arkansas. Our season runs from about the 3rd or 4th week of September to the last day of February. And this year we actually get an extra day because it's leap year.
And I need it. Yeah. Have you cut it?
Huh? The video? No. I want to do a continuous.
No, don't run the whole thing.
Brian does 99% of this part right here. I step in when it comes to after he's quartered it and we have aged it in a cooler of ice for 5 to 7 days, bleeding it off. Then I step in and I clean it. I clean all the fat off, and then he will come back and debone it. And then I will do the majority of the cutting up ready for the grinder and possibly do all the grinding. And then when it comes to the stuffing, stuffing it into our pound bags, or any specialties, we both pitch in and do that. It has been beheaded. Nice cool breeze. Beautiful evening. 80 degrees today, but imagine in a few hours it's going to drop down into the 20s.
I know.
It's crazy. From 80 to 20 in 12. Less than 12 hours. Got some dark torso glands. Not too dark, but just a little bit. But had already lost his antlers, which that's what they do into season. Probably in January sometime they start losing their antlers.
I've seen them carry them all the way up into March.
After season.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell when you see a field full of deer if it's a buck, does, or what, because most of them have lost their antlers. For any of you guys wanting to know, our season that runs till the end of February is archery. I believe the Christmas hunt may be the last gun hunt. And then archery all the way. So we have pretty close to 6 months of where we can bow hunt. And we are both bow hunters, so we get to hunt all season long. This was a bow kill. He's getting it skinned up really pretty. It took a nice little broadhead through the shoulder. So we'll have some bloodshot meat to clean up, but I'm pretty good at that. So
It was double lung.
Double lung, but yeah, we can get it cleaned up. We're at the end of the skinning of it. Next part, you will
Shoulders.
take the shoulders off.
Yep. Well, I wound up with a lot of hair that usually don't have. Just that one part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Run camera, we're going to get out of this.
Yep.
Shoulder number 1. We'll put these down in a cooler, and then when we're done quartering it out, we'll run to town, get a bag of ice. We're just 7 minutes from town. Where our store is anyway for ice.
Spray all that blood off them shoulders if you would. Okay, first back strap.
Big back strap.
It is. Good looking. Little neck meat with it.
It's a big back strap.
And the other inside loin.
I almost want to put these over into another one while I clean those, but those don't require a whole lot of cleaning, do they?
These quarters,
Yeah.
these got hair on them. They have to be washed.
Well, let's put them in a different cooler for now. cleaned out. Well, just have the two hindquarters left, and we just got to cut off the leg off of it, of each of them, and we'll be done with that part.
We're coming over here with the legs, so when you take yours off, I'll take mine off.
So we have all of our deer meat in the cooler. We've got ice packed on top of it. This ice will start to melt, and as it melts, it will bleed through the meat. The meat will bleed out. We will drain the bloody water off every day, and we'll do this for 5 to 7 days. We will keep ice on it the whole time, and that is how we age our deer meat. Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be cleaning up a deer, cleaning all the fat off of it, and getting it ready for the grinder. I've got one of the shoulders here that I'm going to just start removing fat, removing gristle, skin, things that we're not gonna use when we process. It'll take a little time to get it all off. I'm really picky about my meat. I like to clean it up really good. I'm a little picky about eating other people's deer meat as well, because I don't know how well they cleaned it. I'm a little OCD when it comes to it myself. Like to get all the slimy off. And the more you clean in the beginning, the less that gets caught in your grinder. When you go to grind your meat, it'll get caught in the wheel. And we usually don't have to stop in the middle of our grinding to clean the wheel. So that means we do a really good job when we clean it. And what we'll do after we get all the 4 parts cleaned, is we'll put it back on ice. It's been aging for 3 days now on ice, and what that does is you keep it on ice every day. You purge the water off, and it gets all the gamey out of it. Our deer, sometimes you'll eat deer meat and it'll taste real gamey. Ours never tastes gamey. We do a really good job of aging it on ice and removing all the skin and fat. It's time consuming. It's very rewarding. We'll be doing this time around we're going to do some breakfast sausage. We're going to do some snack sticks. We've got a really good seasoning for that. It's made by Backwoods, and it's pepper. And that'll be for our snack sticks. We had a neighbor make some, and he brought it down to us, and I just devoured it. It was really good. So I ordered some online. We're going to be doing some just original mountain blend breakfast sausage. And I think we're going to patty them up ahead of time and vacuum seal them. And we'll probably stuff some in our ground bags as well. And then we'll also make some summer sausage. My husband will decide what blend of the summer sausage we're going to do. With the snack sticks, we are going to do the pepper with, I believe, some pepper jack cheese. It's a high temp cheese that we put with it. And on the summer sausage, my husband will decide what blend he wants to do. We've done Cajun, we've done jalapeno and cheese. We've got 2 or 3 different kinds of cheeses, high temp cheese that we use. I believe we have a yellow American and we have a white American, and then we have the pepper jack. I know we're using the pepper jack in with our pepper snack stick. So we'll probably do something a little different with our summer sausage. He likes the Cajun with jalapeno, and I'm not sure what cheese he'll use, but he does his own blend of seasoning with that. Like I said, it's all time consuming, but when you end up with enough meat and snacks for the season, it's so rewarding. This whole deer processing time usually takes us 5 to 7 days, because we like to age our deer meat on ice for 5 to 7 days. Some people will hang their deer. Now, we have had some warmer temps, so it's not feasible for us to hang a deer. We really like the ice bath. It works. It keeps it out of the weather elements. It keeps it away from the animals that might come. And it works for us. Some people take their deer to a processing facility. We are not fans of that at all. Well, for a few reasons. For one reason is the cost. It's probably about $140, $150 to take it to get processed. And you don't really know if you're getting your deer back. What they do is they do a hang weight when you bring it in, and then you tell them what cuts and what specialties and stuff you want, and then you just get that much weight back in your deer. Well, so you don't know that you're getting your deer, and I'm not sure it really matters. It might to some people. Certain deer, older deer, are probably more tough, the meat. Younger deer are more tender. And then again, it's just a matter of how you cook it, how you prep it. But we do it all ourselves. It's, like I said, it takes us some time to do it. But in the end, it's rewarding. So we keep the back strap, of course. We'll vacuum seal those. We do cook those in several different ways. And my husband's favorite way to do backstrap is to bacon wrap them, which is really awesome. Last night for dinner, and this is a video that you'll see on our channel, he did an onion, mushroom, cheese, gravy filling, and he slathered that on the back strap, rolled it up like a pumpkin roll, and then wrapped it in bacon and smoked it. It was phenomenal. I'm going to say it was probably one of the best bacon wrap back straps that he's made. And they're all good. We do the sausage, we do ground for like chilies and burgers. We try to do specialties. Normally our first deer of the season, we will pretty much do the whole thing in ground. Well, we'll vacuum seal vacuum seal our back straps. We vacuum seal our roast, and we usually keep at least 4 roast. Because those are easy. You put them in the crock pot with some carrots and potatoes, and it just cooks all day. And it just melts in your mouth. We try to keep out at least 1 or 2 packages of like some stew meat. And the rest usually goes for ground on the first deer, maybe 2 deer. This year we harvested this deer like 3 days before season ended. So we were very lucky to be able to harvest this last deer because we hadn't been able, we only got 4 this year. Between the 2 of us, because we both hunt, between the 2 of us, we could have gotten 12, which is a lot of deer. And I wish maybe one day we'll get 12 deer, and that would be awesome. Make all kinds of specialty things. But because we are low on ground, the first 2 deer we did in strictly ground. We were out of deer meat ground from last year, so we needed the ground. So we were grateful to get this last deer of the season so we could do some of our specialty stuff that we had not been able to do with the other deer because we needed the ground because we were out. With ground, we'll make chili, we make tacos, we make meatloaf. It's just endless, the things that you can use ground for. Burgers. That's just a few of the things you can use the ground for. I mean, so we use ground the most. The roast, sometimes we'll pull a roast out. We want to make some jerky. We don't make a whole lot of jerky. We would like to, but as quick as we make it, it's gone. And if our kids, we have 5 kids and 7 grandkids, but it's our kids get wind of us making jerky and they all put the orders in. So we don't even have enough orders for the orders that we get for it from our kids. So we tend to not make it because it's gone as quick as we get it, quick as we make it. So, got one hind quarter finished. Here's all of the scrap stuff I cut off, the waste. Here's a hind quarter bone, what's left. I don't do as good of a job deboning as my husband does. Typically, he's the one that does the deboning, and I do the cleaning part. But I thought I'd just go ahead and do this one, and he's going to help me with the other 3. And here's the meat that we saved for processing. You can see how good this meat looks. No, very little gristle or slime, anything like that on it. And this will be ready to go into the grinder for processing. There's very little fat or anything left on this meat that will get caught up in the wheel or anything. So anyway, 1 hindquarter down. I've got my husband in here now. I cleaned and deboned 1 hindquarter. My husband is so much better and faster at it than I am, by far. But I just wanted to get a head start while he ran to take care of another errand. He is now
Jelly.
Deboning. He's going to debone the other 3/4, and then I will finish up the rest of my cleaning part. He's already on the 2nd of the 3rd. He's very fast and very good. We have specialty parts that I'm good at and specialty parts that he's extremely good at. And I'm very slow at deboning, so we'll stick with letting him do the deboning, and I will do my part when he is done.
Okay, we're in the shop. It is warming up in here. It's a little cool outside. Wife and I are cutting up deer, and I'm getting ready to start vacuum sealing. Get this squirrel cage going. Get a little heat out there, and I can dampen this down and keep the heat in the stove. All right, everything's set up for vacuum seal. Wife has cut up back strap. We got a ball roast right here. We're gonna keep one roast this time. We're grinding everything. Okay, we're gonna seal this roast. Wait. Pat it down dry. Okay. Good grief. Sounds like somebody's pulling in. There, right there, up bit. We are going to seal first. Roast 2024. Matter of fact, this blemish in the filming is that my screen got cracked. Matter of fact, doing this deer, wife set my phone on the tractor and it fell off. It got ran over. Might have to use a different bag. There it goes. Okay. Good to go. Lock down. Rock and roll. And we'll get all the back strap and inside loin done the same way. Got a couple of pre-cut bags. This is what I do to kind of help the vacuum sealer. I know some of them, they can handle moisture, and these claim to, but they really don't. I always pat them dry. And that helps it keep from getting wet on the seal and possibly losing your vacuum on your bag and it not store as long. Just a tip that I do. Even then, I watch the juices, and if they start climbing up, I hit seal. Just like that. Cut off the excess. All right, I got everything vacuum sealed. So all the back strap, the one roast we kept, everything else we're going to grind up because we got a lot of stuff to make. Inside loin did not vacuum seal because the wife got us some jalapeno peppers. So we are going to have some real tender poppers next Monday, I believe. And that is it for the vacuum seal.
So we've got all of our deer meat cut up. So we've got, this is a 2.5 gallon bag and it's halfway, so close to 2 gallons. And then we've got 2 gallon Ziploc bags down there. That is from the deer, all the meat that we'll keep. Then we do a mixture of pork ratio. So we'll be processing 2 deer because we had harvested one probably in December and waiting on to have one more before we start our processing. So we've got it all completely ready, cut up everything, and it was in the freezer. So we've got it out thawing. So we normally do a 3 to 5 pound pork shoulder with our venison. So we've got 2 pork shoulders here that we'll be cutting up, and it'll be ground with our deer. So basically 1 pork shoulder per deer. Some people use bacon, some people use bacon fat, some people don't put any fat in theirs. We choose to use pork shoulder. This is a pork loin roast, one of those. This one is a pork loin roast as well. It's just whatever we find. Sometimes it's a pork shoulder, sometimes it's a pork loin. Basically, we're adding pork to our venison for when we do our ground. So I've got all the deer meat cut up. Now I'm going to cut up this pork loin. I will not be cutting any fat off of this pork loin. As you can see, this has some fat on it. We want that. We need a little fat with our deer meat for when we do our specialty stuff. So that's what we'll be adding to ours. I have all my pork loin cut up. We have a really good meat grinder, and it has a hopper that takes this size. So we cut up our deer meat and our pork in strips like this, and it just fits in there good. So anyway, got that all cut up, and that is ready. I'll add it to the bag with the venison that we have all cut up. It will all stay on ice for another day or two to finish aging, and then we'll drain the rest of the blood off of it before we start to grind. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today, Brian and I will be processing deer meat, whitetail deer that we harvested. We are starting out with 54.5 pounds of meat. We've got some pork mixed in with this that we'll be processing. Here's all of our meat. We've got it all weighed out. And we know what we're going to be making today. We're going to be making 10 pounds of snack sticks. We're going to be making 24 pounds of breakfast sausage. We're going to do 12 pounds of that breakfast sausage in patties. We'll pre-make the patties up and vacuum seal them. And then the other 12 pounds will be made into ground that we'll package in bags. And then we're going to do 8 pounds of summer sausage, jalapeno and cheese, I believe. I'm not sure what the seasoning will be. That will be something Brian, he'll make up his own seasoning for that. And we're going to do the rest, which is about 12.5 pounds of just ground that we'll use for chilies and taco meat and meatloaves and that kind of stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about our grinder. We are very proud of the grinder that we have. We have a Cabela's brand. It is a 3/4 horse grinder. It's a pretty good commercial size grinder. We used to have a small electric grinder that worked great for us, but the more deer that we processed, we decided it was time to upgrade. So 2 years ago, we upgraded to this grinder. It's a Cabela's brand. It has a big tub in the top. As you can see, we can load that up with a lot of meat. The hopper is pretty big. It's probably about a 2.5 inch opening there. So when we cut our meat up, we don't have to cut it up really small. We can leave it pretty big. We're going to start our grind off on this setting of ground, and then we'll change it out to this smaller one. So as you can see, the holes are smaller. So we'll start out with a little bit bigger and then go down to a small grind. So let's get started. I'm going to start by loading up my hopper. As much meat in it as I can get before I turn it on and start running it through. I've got a large sink. It's a farmhouse sink. There's no divider in it. So I'm going to grind straight into the sink. and then we'll be separating it out by pounds according to what specialties that we're going to be making today. He is out running an errand right now, so I will be doing the grind by myself. And then when we get ready to start the specialty stuff and stuffing in our bags and stuff, he'll be here to help me with that part. We have a really nice stuffer as well. I believe it holds like 11 pounds. And you'll see how fast this grinder works. It's great. It has been really worth the money. It was a mid-grade grinder at Cabela's. I believe we paid about $300 for it. Well worth the money. So let's get started. How big I left the strips of meat. Like I said, you don't have to cut it up very small in this when you're opening. So if you're looking into buying a grinder, I'll tell you, we shopped around and found that the Cabela's was really good. I'm just going to turn that off while I load it up again. This bag has a little of my pork in it. That way it kind of mixes in as we go. Of course, we'll work it all in together in the sink. But just so that another more big chunks here. How the pork is coming out in the meat, mixed in, and then we'll work it in really good in the sink before we start separating into our individual bowls. hard to keep up with it. It's faster than I am. Just getting a little of that extra blood that didn't drain off. This deer meat has been aging for 5 days. We typically like it to age for 5 to 7 days. So 5 days is good. We keep it on ice. We bleed it, let it bleed out, drain the water and blood water off each day, add more ice, and that's how we age our deer meat. And what that does is that pulls all the gamey out of the meat. This wraps up our first grind. We'll mix it up really good in the sink to get the pork mixed in good, and then we'll run it back through the grinder again on the smaller setting. Here's what the meat all looks like with the pork mixed in with the venison. And then once it runs through the second grind, it will be even more fine. I've got my hopper filled. I've got my grinder set on the smaller setting. And I forgot to add my freezer boot on there. This thing is a cooler. You keep it in the freezer until the next time you go to grind, and it stays frozen, and it keeps your meat cold as it's coming through. I forgot to put it on there on the first grind, but these have been on ice, so they were already chilled some. But because we're going through a second grind, this grind, because it's already been ground once, it doesn't go through the grinder as easy as the first setting does. So I went ahead and added my boot, and that will chill the meat so it comes through even better. Now we're ready to start our second grind. You might see me use this every now and then. On the first batch, I only used it 3 times. Just if something gets stuck in the hopper a little bit and needs an extra little push. This time around, I might use this more often because it's a little harder to get through. But here we go. Notice I don't use gloves. Gloves just get in the way for me. We're very clean and sanitized, so I don't use gloves. See how fine this meat is grinding up. So we're about to wrap up the second grind. My husband is back behind me. He is getting the right amount of pounds of ground mixed with the right amount of the seasoning and that goes in our specialty stuff. He's working on the snack sticks first, getting it mixed up.
Are you going through the grind again with this?
And that wraps up our second grind. Now we'll start getting our seasonings put in with our the right amount of pounds of meat that we decided we wanted to do for each thing, and get ready to start stuffing.